And I propose a question that the sum stated for Program 134 Local Government Development Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Ministry. Maybe I sitting in my chair, I can get it.
Continue your good work, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, project code 130200. Sir, in 2020, this budget, the budget had in it $50 million under this project code. And in 2021, we had 1.172 billion. In 2022, we had 6.9 billion. And here in 2023, we're having 13.122609 billion. Sir, in excess of 21 billion, or just around $21,244 million this project code had since 2020. And two projects continue to reoccur in this project code line item, and it is the Monrepo market and Parica market. Since 2020, they have been coming and coming and coming. Would the Honorable Minister please provide us with an update on the current status of these two markets, and if they are expected to be finished in 2023, or will they reoccur in 2024?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And again, we have put a lot of resources towards transforming regional economies, and marketplaces are a significant center of business in many of our regions. And these markets have been a hodgepodge arrangement for time immemorial. So President Ali, during many of his outreaches, and after numerous applications from people, we have decided as a government to enhance the quality of services at these markets. So resources have been geared toward Parica, Monrepo, Charity, many markets across the country. And we have consistently been upgrading these markets during different phases. And so until we are finished, you will see resources every year allocated in the budget for these markets. So, for instance, at Monrepo, we are on the western wing, the eastern wing. We are about to complete that. We will actually have tile surfaces and almost modern, the eastern wing. We also have begun construction on the western wing, which will have a mezzanine floor as well, something that is alien to market structures in the country, and which are a norm in many developed countries. So Monrepo is going to be one of the outstanding markets. In Parica, the area has been relatively congested for a number of years, and we have taken a decision as a government to, in phases again, to expand the market, to rebuild it in steel so that more persons can be housed in the market. And when we're finished, hopefully we'll be able to also get the vendors who have transgressed onto the road, for them to get back into the market in a proper environment to ply their trade.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Sir, same line item. May I ask the Honorable Minister how many national pathway workers this project caters for?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, a commitment of our government is to provide more opportunities for gainful employment. So this pathway program is a commitment of the People's Progressive Party Civic in our manifesto to make sure that as many persons get employment as possible. It actually came out, Mr. Chairman, and I have to give you some history behind it because you need to understand why it is here. This project, Mr. Chairman, came out, and a lot of the attention was placed in the rural areas because of the decimation of jobs between 2015 and the mid of 2020, in that period, where thousands of jobs were lost. So last year, we started implementation of this program. We've had almost 11,000 persons in regions 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10. And we are hopeful to intensify this, the implementation this year and to expand this project to other areas where employment opportunities are not as, or are less available as they are closer to Georgetown and in the sectors of the economy.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Sir, just some guidance. Is the Honorable Minister saying that currently registered under the National Pathway Workers Project, the number of persons who are with this part-time job, the number is 11,000 right now? I understand that they are going to expand, but the current figure now, is it 11,000?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I said that last year we began with 11,000. Region 2, 2,000. Region 3, 2,000. Region 5, 2,000. Region 6, 4,000. And Region 10, 1,000.
Thank you, Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Thank you, sir. I do hope the Minister take note that Region 10 has more population than two of these regions here, and they should be considered for more than 1,000. Sir, the Community Enhancement Program, how many staff members how many persons are catered for under the Community Enhancement Program in terms of a figure?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, again, this is one of the signature projects of our government. That was birthed since before 2008 by President Ali when he was a technician responsible for community infrastructure development in our country. And what we've sought to do is to have more of these workers across the country in communities. They were substantially reduced between the 2015-2020 period. I think during that period, there were only about 1,500 to 1,600. We've now gone beyond 2,300. And the intention is to go to at least 3,000 across the country, and in particular in the local democratic organs. They serve an important function. They help to maintain the community infrastructure. They clean the drains. And again, I would like you to use your office, Mr. Chairman, to encourage the opposition and members of the country, our residents, to support these workers. And they work arduously for 4 hours per day in all conditions. And some of them even have to go into different types of environment, even at risk to themselves. So I'd like you to use your office as well to encourage this program.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, and I agree with you. All members of the House and our people should give a lot of support to these people. They do a good job in my
Yeah, I
opinion.
agree, sir. I agree. Our side agree also. We fully support them, and we believe they should get more money than what they're getting currently.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, go ahead with your
Thank
next
you.
question.
Sir, this same National Pathway Workers Project, does the Minister and his ministry see the need to not only facilitate these persons with employment and pay them $40,000 for 10 days work, but do they conceptualize, or will they conceptualize the idea of facilitating them also in these technical vocational training institutes across the country to further develop their skills, and they can be placed into permanent employment and gain more money and contribute greater to society and building our country to becoming the little Dubai of the South America?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, two things quickly. On the issue of Mr. Mahipaul wanting the enhancement workers to be paid more, Mr. Chairman, it is under the People's Progressive Party Civic that their stipend moved from $25,000 to $35,000 per month. and that was done in 2021. So it wasn't during the 5 years. APNU didn't have time to pay them any increases in that period. But we were able to find money so quickly in less than a year, we were able to increase their stipend. Mr. Chairman, we are working in national interest. The country got to clean, the infrastructure has to be maintained. So I don't know why Mr. Ramjatan thinks by providing employment to people this is vote buying. Why would Mr. Ramjatan think so?
Honorable member, Mr. Mahipaul was asking the question. Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chairman, on the second issue that Mr. Mahipaul raised on the pathway program, the mere name of the program, a pathway program, would suggest that you can transition beyond the 10 days period. When the Vice President was across the country launching this program in the different regions, I recall in Region 3, the newest member of Parliament, Ms. Beverly Alert, participated in the launch at West Bank. At that time, I don't know if as a potential employee under the program or whether they were supportive of the program, but a lot of these pathway workers have already gone on to become teachers. Some are in training, they have gone on to be health workers at different levels. Some have become politicians as well, and possibly take over from Mr. Mahipaul at some point in time in the near future. Because I know Mr. Mahipaul is sitting on tenuous grounds in the opposition. See, he can't even take his own seat. So Mr. Chairman, I think this is a program that has to be intensified and supported, and everyone must be given an opportunity to participate, and the opposition should not be casting shadows on this program. All of the people who are employed under this program they're vulnerable, they're rural people, they're poor people, many are women, many are single mothers. This is a glorious opportunity for them to benefit from the resources of the country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I know that you will agree with me that billions of dollars started to flow into our coffers from the year 2020, and there is a lot of money that we now have to further develop our country. Sir, I turn your attention to Project Code 1902-900. Sir, this project code caters for subvention to municipalities, neighborhood democratic councils, and the figure that goes to NDCs is $5 million as their subvention. And I know that there is a formula in the Fiscal Transfers Act that deals with municipalities. And Georgetown, for some strange reason, with the largest population and the capital city, has been getting for the past 2 or 3 years $30 million, when other townships have been getting $18 million. And when you look at the population size, you look at the workload for Georgetown, I believe $30 million is not sufficient. May I ask the Honorable Minister if there is any intention to increase the subvention to Georgetown municipality from $30 million, and if so, to what figure? And will he be ensuring that the Fiscal Transfers Act is applied in terms of the disbursement?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, again, Mr. Mahipaul, thank you for the question.
We'll answer it now.
And
Julius.
The city of Georgetown that Mr. Mahipaul seems to be batting for, there are people living across the other 9 municipalities of Guyana.
They're getting 18 million.
There are 3 in Region 6. There is 1 in Region 10, there is 1 in Region 9, there is 1 in Region 8, there is 1 in Region 1, and there is 1 in Region 2. So the resources, like I said earlier, they have to be managed properly. We can't be doling out government money into a crater that seems to have a bottomless pit. So I will tell you why I say what I say, and I think the residents of Georgetown need to know why. Again, Georgetown collects over $2.1 billion in revenue annually. And Georgetown, every single day, they're unable to pick up garbage in practically every single ward. Every single day, they have vendors in Stabroek, in Border, La Penitence, Kitty, elsewhere across Georgetown, in markets, who have some of the worst conditions to ply their trade. We have in Georgetown drains that are clogged. We have pumps that are not working. We have sluices that are left dilapidated. All of these were supposed to be repaired, reconstructed, rehabilitated by the resources of the city of Georgetown. However, not a dime from the revenue of the city of Georgetown, led by the PNC Council of Georgetown, has gone towards fixing the drains in Alboystown, has gone towards fixing the drains in Sophia, has gone towards fixing the drains in Laceytown, on Regent Street, on Robb Street, in Queenstown, in Kitty, in Newtown, in Camberville, in Cummings Lodge, in Kingston, in none of the wards of the city of Georgetown. All are being done by central government. All, including the roads as well. Hundreds of millions of dollars. But what I could tell the citizens of Georgetown as well, in answering the question, the mayor seems more intent on driving.
Honorable member, the mayor is not here and he won't be able to defend himself. So please let us refrain from naming that particular office holder.
Well, the chief citizen then, or the most prominent citizen, the official citizen of Georgetown, drives around in a vehicle with siren, sometimes running the Minister of Finance off the road, sometimes running the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development off the road, with resources that the government allocated to the city of Georgetown. And then also parades at public functions with a photographer, with personal, there are many things wrong with that, many things. With bodyguards, armed driver. So Mr. Chairman, the resources of Georgetown can be programmed in a much better way. The resources should be fixing the physical infrastructure of Georgetown. And then, Mr. Chairman, do you know they also pay themselves a quite significant stipend. They also pay themselves a quite significant stipend. Some of the members of parliament would be rivaled. Their stipends would be rivaled by what the Finance Committee of Georgetown, headed by a notorious PNC councillor, what they pay themselves. I can also say to you, Mr. Chairman, as I've said last year, for the purposes of emphasis and the record, and for the purposes that I do not allow APNU AFC to rewrite the history of this country. That's right. They have procured orally, not without documentation, a contract of over $579 million around 2017 for the cleanup of Georgetown. Over $579 million to one contractor. They have also procured a contract for $4 million per month to clean Regent Street to one contractor. And they owe that contractor up till now $40 million for a 10-month period. That is where the resources of the citizens of Georgetown went. It didn't go towards the development of the city. So we have to do the heavy lifting. The Ministry of Agriculture has to fix the pumps. We have offered, even through the worker enhancement program, to have workers installed as support to complement the staff of City Hall at some of these drainage facilities, infrastructure. And they refused it. I have the minutes of the meeting where they refused it. All to help the development of Georgetown. And this council, led by the PNC, AP, and UFC, have refused to have the infrastructure of Georgetown fixed, and in some cases addressed in a very efficient and effective way. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Honourable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Will this notorious honorable minister increase the subvention for any...
You have to withdraw that.
Notorious means popular in a bad way. But I'll withdraw with your guidance, sir. Sir, will...
I have never seen any pleasantries around the word notorious.
Sir, the honorable member used the word notorious, and he didn't withdraw it. You didn't ask him.
We're talking about to address persons in this house.
Guided, sir, guided. Your guidance is noteworthy. Sir, will the honorable minister increase the subvention for neighborhood democratic councils from 5 million? And if so, what is the amount that is expected for that figure to be increased to? Because the provision caters for $1 billion, and with the $5 million to NDCs, the $18 million to municipalities, not municipalities, town councils, and the $30 million to Georgetown, the expenditure there was $714 million. So now that it has gone to $1 billion, what is the sum of assistance to these respective organs?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to use a term from, or to borrow a term as I usually do every year from my goodly friend, Dr. Ashni Singh, the attempts by Mr. Mahipaul to bloviate in addressing his vicarious tendencies, I wish to proffer the following. One, the subvention to the municipalities and to the neighborhood democratic councils were increased last year directly and indirectly. Every single of the 80 local democratic organs in this country can tell you that their accounts were enhanced, were embellished by more resources since President Ali took office. That is why they're able to spend and to do much more than they have ever done before. And this year, again, more resources will be placed to the 10 towns and to the 70 neighborhood democratic councils. More resources. So it is in the budget. So I don't understand why Mr. Mahipaul would want to think that his bloviations will end up in the resources being increased. It is already in the budget. So, and this is because of the thousands of consultations we've done across the country. We know that much more has to be done, and that is why more resources are placed in these bodies. So you are aware now that more resources have been placed, and it is not because of the protestations of Mr. Mahipaul, and neither the bloviations of Mr. Mahipaul.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the
And
three.
by the way, you don't have 10 minutes, you have 4.
Where's Chris?
We started at 90 minutes after the hour.
Sir, I have 3 other questions. I would crave your indulgence, and I don't mind taking back quick from Region 3 because I will also be questioning on Region 3.
Just for some information for everyone, we can use, I've stopped the clock. We can use savings from a previous head and apply it to subsequent heads, but we can't take time from a subsequent head here, right? So we can't shortchange the bottom head. But Mr. Mahipaul, you've done well, and you probably will have the indulgence of the chair.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister, the $3 million that were given to the municipalities during the second week of January this year, and they were told to keep it in their account and await instructions on what to spend it on. Can you guide us what they will be spending it on?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I am responsible today to discuss the estimates of 2023. I don't know what Mr. Mahipaul is referring to.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister to turn his attention to 3600-300, and sir, this caters for the provision for stormwater pond and landfill gas management system at Hagbosh sanitary landfill site. But this was also in last year's budget, and the Honorable Minister committed that this would have been completed. So may I ask the Minister for an update on this? And I also note that there was mention about a landfill site in Wakenham. Upon checking, sir, and communicating with a number of residents, including the chairman of the NDC for Wakenham, there is no landfill site at Wakenham, even though it was catered for in last year's budgetary spending, and all were spent out. So may I ask, where is the landfill site in Wakenham, and an update on the stormwater pond and landfill gas management system that was supposed to also be completed last year?
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the issue of Wakenham, we had requested the Neighborhood Democratic Council to earmark a piece of land that the construction can take place, and they have not yet done so. So resources had to be reprogrammed. Similarly, at the Higgs-Bosch sanitary landfill, a lot of the resources earmarked last year for the stormwater ponds, those were reprogrammed because the solid waste issues became much more important during the course of last year. As a matter of fact, our production of solid waste in the country, with all of the construction that is taking place, with the expansion of the oil and gas sector, we are collecting much more waste in different areas of the country as well. So resources were garnered and reprogrammed to address a lot of those circumstances at that time. So that is why we have it programmed for this year.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Sir, my second to last question is, in 2 years ago, there was in the budget the creation of a dump site at Lima. And in this budget, I'm seeing the closure of dump site at Lima. May I ask what is the reason after 2 years for it to be closed so quickly?
Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chairman, I don't recall us saying that we were going to create a dump site at Lima. As a matter of fact, Lima, from where Mr. Mahipaul originates, they've had a dump site for a long time. What we did in the first period of our government, this government, was to do some upgrading work to make sure that it doesn't complicate the circumstances of the environment. What we have also done in Region 2 is we've begun to close the smaller facilities at Charity as well as at Lima, and we are now constructing a modern facility at Zorgan Flight, is it? Yeah, Zorgan Flight on the Essequibo coast.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipaul.
Sir, my final question. On the Regional Economic Transformation 1904-300, there is a sum here for $1.5 billion, provision for community-driven entrepreneurial interventions, which is basically the SLET program, Sustainable Livelihood Entrepreneurship Development. May I ask the Honorable Minister, what is the criteria for persons to apply for assistance through the SLET program, and how many persons from this 1.5 billion is the target, and is it that they have decentralized it to cater for persons from all the regions, and if there are caps within the regions, what are the numbers?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this program has a history. The SLET program, it has a history. And this House would recall, and again for the purposes of the record, historically this program was centralized. Centralized to the extent that during the period of AP and UAFC, ministers of government, members of parliament, senior officials, including senior officials of the current opposition, personally benefited from the SLET grants administered by AP and UAFC. We are currently conducting a forensic audit of the program during the course of the administration of the AP and UFC. And to give you some tidbits about what we have found, it will be egregious. When Mr. Norton hears of who amongst his cohort, how many of them have benefited, some in the millions, Mr. Chairman, some in the tens of millions, and one in one case through some quote-unquote organization set up in the Rupununi,
Sir,
more than $165 million.
Honorable Member, point of order.
Thank you, sir. Content of speech. The Honorable Member referred to the Leader of the Opposition by full name without saying Honorable, and I believe the guidance must be taken.
Thank you very much for that point of order. I uphold it. The Honorable Minister has consistently throughout the last hour refused to either use comrade or honorable, as stated in Standing Order 41-5, I think it was. So, Honorable Minister, please.
Honorable
The Standing Order
Aubrey
says
Norton.
we use Honorable, Mr. or comrade, if you want.
Honorable Aubrey Norton would be shocked to find out that members of his honorable cohort, or honorable members of his cohort, in the opposition have benefited, in the current opposition, have benefited from SLED, centrally directed during the last government. Millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, and in one case, Mr. Chairman, there were some bodies that were created in Rupununi, and almost $165 million went. And I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, when the audit is fully complete, I would be surprised if the specialized or the special organized crime unit doesn't take action against those who pilfered the SLED grant program. I would be utterly surprised. We have embarked as part of our commitment to regional transformation, regional economic transformation, and more particularly the transformation of our villages. President Ali made a commitment in 2020 to make sure that small businesses benefit as much as possible, and small people, many of whom are single mothers, many of whom are vulnerable, benefit from grants such as these. So during the course of this year, Mr. Chairman, we will intensify the distribution of grants across the country. We did not, it was never centralized under this government, as Mr. Mahipaul may have hinted, honorable member. So, Mr. Chairman, could I say Mr. instead of honorable, or I have to say both?
You have to say both, or you can say
both.
comrade.
Okay. So, you're not my comrade. The Honorable Mahipaul. So we will, it has never been centralized under the PPP. People from Region 10 benefited, Region 2 benefited, 3, hinterland, different parts of the country. And we will have thousands more that will benefit during the course of 2023. Unfortunately, in the last government, it was a handful that benefited. Now, the masses will benefit from this program. So I hope that answers your question, Honorable Ganesh Mahipaul.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 134, Local Government Development Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates.